70% goes to me and 30% goes to you. Now she looked at me and she said, no, 70% goes to me, Pearl, and 30% goes to me, Sarah Garvey.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Mario Brothers Music. So guys, I have been getting dragged all across Black YouTube the last 5 to 6 days. I've been getting dragged by sellouts, pro-blacks, white conservatives, wannabe white conservatives. But I haven't been tripping off Stop the Show because I'm over here getting rich. Y'all mad. It's not my fault. But there has been some new information coming out. Can I hear a dun-dun-dun sound effect? So guys, as you know, Just Pearly Things is under a lot of fire. And it's kind of interesting to me that under a lot of fire in the UK when it's pretty cold there. But no. Just Pearly Things is under fire for something different, not really related to Nick Fuentes. Here's another allegation of racism. And it's coming from somebody, and this is interesting, this is not me, it's not somebody in the pro-black community, it's from an ex-collaborator of hers, who is, if you'll say, Sarah Garvey. Round of applause, Zima. So let me deal with this brother. This brother is a very cerebral, intellectual content creator. I watch him all the time, especially on TikTok. I've even used some of his, I think at least once or twice, content in some of our reaction videos. Very powerful brother. He's over 93,000 subscribers. And he used to collaborate with Pearly Things, but he's going to expose something about Pearly Things that many of us just don't know. Play that clip!
That video was filmed in 2022. And in that video, what you saw was me attempting to tell Pearl and show Pearl what colonization was like. How people went to another group of people and took their resources and took what was theirs and built their empire off of it. So when Pearl now plays like she doesn't know what colonization is and she doesn't know what slavery is, and she says these insensitive statements, in that video I actually attempted to give her a book. It was called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. I've read it myself. She semi-dismissed that book. She kind of dismissed that book. And then she went on with herself to go and interview a man like Nick Fuentes. Pearl has Africans that work for her. Now, Nigeria has many issues. Now, the disparity in Nigeria has rich and poor people living just on the breadline. And Pearl has these types of people working for her. They edit her videos. They make her thumbnails. So Pearl has taken people on from Africa, which on the surface looks like a good thing. And I guess it is. Africans are being fed. They're taking money from her. They are feeding their family. Amazing. However, with a colonial mindset, this can be quite dangerous. And what happened during that interview with Nick Fuentes was that she used an age-old tactic that colonizers use, which was the divide and rule tactic. She pitted African Americans versus Africans when she spoke about how hard Africans work compared to how hard African Americans work. And she also used the term, my Africans. Much of what Pearl says is determined by her management, which she has said to me on many occasions that she shares with Candace Owens. So when you have a colonial mindset and you have a management who tell you what to say, what generally happens in my personal point of view and what I actually saw was that she began to start paying people pittance. She began to start offering contracts to people that owned them, just like a colonial master would. Case in point, Myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation about me signing to her contractually. And I want to make this very clear. I have never signed to the Just Pearly Things network. I have always been an independent. Pearl has known that, and I have known that. And so anytime I worked with Pearl, we had agreed a fee, and I worked for that fee. I have never been signed to the Just Pearly Things contracts. However, she has signed a few Africans, namely King Rich's and Auntie Jenny. Now, I have no problem with a King Rich's or an Auntie Jenny. However, if we look at the contracts that they signed, you would understand the reason why I use the term colonization and colonial. Now, myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation, and she expressed to me that she wanted to do a new segment for her show. In that segment, she said that she would like me to present a topical news show on a day-to-day basis. So I said, okay, no problem. Talk to me. What are we talking about? And she said she would want me within her studio 4 days per week. I said, okay, from what time? She said from 10 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. And I said, okay, well, that is 7 hours. I said, so working 4 to 5 days a week for 7 hours is essentially a day job. I said to her, okay, so what is my guaranteed fee at the end of the month? What is the salary? And she looks at me and she says, we do not do guarantees and we do not do salaries. So I said, so if you don't do guarantees and you don't do salaries, what is it that you actually do? And she said she does percentages. So I said, okay, cool. Well, what's the percentage? She said, Sarah, you're the high end, so you will get 70-30. So I said, fine, okay, let me listen. 70% goes to me and 30% goes to you. Now she looked at me and she said, no, 70% goes to me, Pearl, and 30% goes to me, Sarah Garvey. And that's when I started scratching my head. And I said, hang on a minute. So are you telling me that's a high-end contract for you? And she said, yes. And I said, so are you saying that Just Pearly Things Network has other people on low-end contracts? She said, yes. I said, King Rich's and Auntie Jenny? She said, yes. I said, what's the low end? She said, it's 10 to 15%. So essentially, she could be owning 80% of the content, which is basically the monetized views on somebody's channel, and they only take home 15% of the money. She said yes.
So guys, let me just say this. A lot of people on the other side, and I've talked to some brothers and sisters offline, and one of the arguments that I've been hearing for people who support Just Pearly is, sad music. Well, brother, man, she out there giving black folk jobs, brother. She giving black people jobs, brother. They feeding theyself, brother. Hotep, African drum music demon. Hotep, Shazabay, Hotep. So, and again, you know, it's nice to employ people and to give them an opportunity. But according to the brother, he feels like she is a colonizer or a colonized mentality. In other words, for somebody who's in the position of him, he's real African-centered, real black-centered, and you have a lot of brothers like him in the UK. In fact, I heard that this video was going to be coming out even 2 or 3 days before it came because of some of the connections I had in some of the pro-black community in London. So I already knew this was going to come this way. But the lady was pretty much trying to give him a deal that was something that was, you know, in his opinion, trying to use him, and not only using him, but the other people on the staff. He did mention that, you know, she does have some people of African descent that have signed these contracts and things like that. And I get it, because you can have a black boss that can sign you a contract. But again, it seems like this issue that he's had with her has been ongoing. And I can tell you exactly why it took so long for him to come out with it. Because people are going to say you're hating. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. The same thing with the It's Complicated YouTube channel. With the It's Complicated YouTube channel, he also didn't want to come out with it before. But that's what happens, right? A lot of times when things come out like this and there's a snowstorm, people start like revealing their frustrations, not because they want to jump on the bandwagon, but because you don't want somebody to come out and say, oh, you're just jealous, or oh, you're this and you're that. It's sad, right? And then people looking at her as if, she's doing something for these people, but really, in his case, it didn't look like an opportunity. He felt that she was trying to use him. And again, she's very specific when she wants to reach out to people like me. She specifically targets black people to work with for the most part, as far from what I know. I'm not saying she doesn't do that with other races, but she came there. She used this guy to build part of her audience because he was at least maybe even bigger than her when she got there. Then at the same time, you want to do percentages from the guy that help to give you the infrastructure of the business that he has right now. That doesn't seem so nice or fair to me. And again, that is a colonization sort of aspect. It's not equal. So, and he reveals that, hey, these other deals these other people have are like that. And that's the point I want to make. In Black YouTube, we got to start really thinking about the fact in the Black community that when these people come into your communities, it's not to help you. It's always, for the most part, to help them. They're not going to develop the people there for the most part. They're going to give you shady deals. They're going to think about themselves first. And if that's going to happen, I'd rather that be our own people doing it, okay? At least you might have more compassion for the folks or whatever. But clearly, when that happens, that money's going back to the states or whatever, and it doesn't stay in the place to help build the brothers and sisters up. So that's what the guy is saying. I have every reason to believe that he's telling the truth. He's not throwing any negative shots at her. I believe he's dealing with what the truth is. And we've seen some behavior from her that has been questionable just in the last few days, like going on a live stream with the lead attorney threatening people. She's going to do this and that. She's going to come hard at everybody who turned on her in the chat rooms, going over the chat rooms of people who hate black women. You just see all this stuff that she's doing, and this is coming out. There is something wrong with her. It's not. What I'm saying is some of these behavior patterns that we're seeing with her is coming out now, and it's not as great as we have thought. I'm not saying nobody's perfect because I'm not either. But what the brother is saying is that she's not being fair, and she's using these black brothers and sisters out there, trying to use them to get over into a space, into a community that she doesn't understand, while at the same time insulting those people. So you're going to give somebody a bad deal and insult them too, and agree with white supremacists while you're insulting them, asking for a bad deal. The brother did the right thing by standing up for himself. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.